What's up, everyone? How's it going? Week 5 was a lot of fun. We had a lot of huge games that we're going to talk about, especially from Dan's own Colts versus the Ravens. That was a crazy game, to say the least. How do you feel about that game, Dan?
Yeah, the offense looks pretty good, but man, Lamar Jackson is wow. I don't know what you can say, what much more you can say about him. I mean, 400 some yards, like 500 total yards if you include his rushing. I mean, just a heartbreaking loss for the old Colts there.
Yes, that is true. There was only one bad thing about this week, and it was incomplete lineups. Some even costed players a win. So I'm going to say this one more time. Please set your lineups. A lot of bonehead mistakes also to come. Also to come later today, predictions with your fave team, Reedy. He's going to come on and give his predictions for this week. So let's get started. How about we start off on a different note this evening? I usually talk about the team with the most points or other highlights, but we're going to talk about who took the biggest L this week. You probably already know who this is if you looked at the matchup, but it was between good friends Reedy and E-Swag, Ethan Trapp. Reedy had a big oopsie as he played Cordero Patterson in his flex rather than the RB spot. So when Dalvin Cook was ruled out during Cordero's game, he had no other RBs on his bench. So he had to spend $15 on Brandon Bolden. He probably could have got him for nothing. And based on this information, you would think that his opponent, Ethan, won. Nope. Ethan dropped the Washington defense for Tennessee defense on Friday, which was a great pickup considering the Titans scored more than the Washington Redskins, or football team, sorry. The problem is Ethan kept them on the bench and lost by 5.9 points. Reedy won 105-99, which moves him to 5-0, and Ethan to 2-3. Absolutely brutal, but I'm sure he'll remember from now on. I did speak to him about this, and he had some choice words to say. He was like, yeah, that was a big screw up on the coaching staff, talking about himself. We'll have to make better choices moving forward. This week was a minor setback, and we'll be back stronger and better than ever next week. He also said in a later text that he was pissed that he lost because of that. So that was a really bonehead move.
Well, in my first matchup of the week, we saw Devin taking on Keegan. Devin put up 102 points to Keegan's 99, and I believe what was the closest matchup of the week. Devin won behind a strong scoring output by Kyle Pitts, his first real big game in the NFL. It's always key when you can get that tight end position to catch a touchdown or two, get some catches, because there's not a lot of good tight ends out there.
That is true. Next matchup, I'm going to start with Dan Saul. He changed his team name to Clyde and Seek, and I guess Justin Herbert took that personal. It was the battle of the Dans in week 5, and all eyes were on them. Dan Saul had this game from the very start. Herbert had the highest score by anyone this year, I believe. He had 50 points. And James Robinson and Hollywood Brown were right there with them to raise the point total. And also a little salt was added to the wound to Dan Monin when Dan Saul played Chuba Hubbard, who did well in place of Dan Monin's CMC. The only thing that was bad this week for Dan Saul was MCL from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It might take a few weeks to heal. Dan Monin did have one bright spot in Ja'Marr Chase with 25 points, but had horrible games for pretty much everyone else. Not to mention, he played Devontae Parker, who was ruled out before the game started. Again, check the lineups. Dan Saul, who's now 2-3, won 165-86. And Dan Monin stays defeated. Might get the punishment at the end of that.
Yeah, it's not looking good for me. We're trying a worse weekend than me with John Gruden.
Yep.
My next matchup is going to be between David and you, Brian. Narrow defeat once again of about 4 points. One of the closest games of the week. David was just consistent across the board as he had Antonio Gibson, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, all scored over 20-plus points. And when you're getting that many running backs and receivers at your skill positions scoring 20-plus, it's hard to keep up. Brian finally started Mike Evans, put up 32 points, and also Dawson Knox was another bright spot for Brian. Just picked him up not too long ago, and he got in the end zone a couple of times. So those are two players that weren't probably going to be in your starting lineup at the beginning of the season that were two of your most productive players there, Brian.
That is true. And it was Mike Williams who I finally decided to start and lost. But oh well. We're also going to get to this next game that also went down to the wire. Even when all of us thought it was the end, it wouldn't be. Of course, I'm talking about the Ravens-Colts game, and the biggest beneficiary of that game was Chad, who was in a matchup with Andrews Begg, Steele, Burrow, and Barter. It didn't look good for Chad at the beginning of the matchups, though. Saquon had a nasty-looking ankle sprain in the first quarter, leaving him with less than 1 point. Odell and Stephon Diggs also disappointed. Andrew, on the other hand, had some pretty good games from Darrell Henderson and a new pickup, Damian Williams, while Monty is out. And not to mention, Joe Burrow finally started to look healthy, even though he had a few scary moments. He should probably just slide. At the end of Sunday, Chad had one player left to go, Lamar Jackson, as we spoke about earlier. He needed a big 38 points from him. At the end of the first half, it was not looking so good, but then Lamar just started going crazy. Scored a massive 49 points total to give Chad the win. This win, Chad moves to 2-3, while Andrew becomes 3-2.
And my final matchup this week was our highest scoring matchup and two of my favorite team names. We had Ryan Birch with the anti-vax all-pro team, taking the win, improving to 4-1 over Alex Thompson's Robert Kraft massage parlor, who put up 183 in a loss, a very respectable point total. It seemed like everyone put up big points in this one, but I wanted to highlight the two quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Josh Allen, both doing it a little different. Brady more from the pocket, Josh Allen doing it with his legs, but still scoring big points.
All right, guys. And with that, that was the recap. Again, tell us how you like it. Next up on a separate video, we have a special segment. Our very own Austin Reedy is going to give us predictions about what's going to happen in week 6. Go ahead and take it away, Reedy.